Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Apricity Podcast. I am so excited today to welcome my friend Alicia Long. She is the founder of Sunny Side Up Wellness. She is such a beautiful human and just a beautiful spirit. Ever since I met Allie, we have been on a journey in so many different ways, and she has inspired me. And I just saw Allie the other day for a session, and I told her, I'm like, I don't trust like anybody with doing energy work on me or my kids or anybody that I love and care about. And I trust Allie to do that. So that speaks volumes, I think, of her and her energy and her heart and her spirit. So I would love for Allie to introduce herself and just give a quick bio on who she is and what she does and just the creations that she brings into the world. So welcome, Miss Allie.
Thank you so much. And thank you for that little intro with the trust, because I'm very grateful and I'm very humbled. Humble is a great word for that you would trust me to come in and do a session with Keegan. And it was an honor. And so, there was a time in my life where um, I wasn't working on bodies, doing energy work and craniosacral. And so it's just a fun chapter in my life to be able to come full circle. Um, I've always gotten bodies to move. And what I mean by that is my journey of being a fitness instructor started 20 plus years ago. I was teaching kickboxing classes at Michigan State University, and fitness was my first love of wellness. And Sunnyside Wellness, my current business, really was birthed out of the holistic person, and how we get the body to be healthy: mind, body, spirit, soul. And so Sunnyside Up Wellness was birthed about 4 years ago. I started a podcast myself. I incorporated fitness, I incorporated yoga, and there was a piece missing. There was a piece missing, and I found this amazing school in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, and I quickly enrolled as soon as I found out about it. And it's called the Naturopathic Institute. And I am in year two. I am almost, God willing, I will finish all 4 years, but I'll graduate from year two in January, and I will be a natural health therapist upon my graduation, and then pursuing that doctorate in natural medicine. So that is the current path that I'm on. I'm so many other things besides. That's my career, me. But I'm also a mama. I'm a boy mom. I'm a hockey mom. I'm a soccer mom. I'm a wife. And yeah, I just live in this cute little city in Michigan and doing my best to embrace all the seasons because I'm a sunshine girl. I am a summer girl. Bring me all the sunshine. So it's hard in the winter, but I'm doing my best, and I'm trying to encourage my clients to do their best and radiate that inner glow. So that's me in a nutshell.
Allie, you are sunshine. Every time I think about you, I just see you radiate sunshine in everything that you create. And I want to talk about all of the offerings that you have because you bring so much into this world through your yoga classes and your fitness classes and the sunshine retreat that I was so grateful to be a part of last year. And I was booking more sessions on your website, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she offers so much. And I think that's just a testament to you see the whole person and you're able to determine just based on your gifts and again, the way you move, your energy, what they need and what they can benefit from. And it's not always, a one size fits all. Like we all have different bodies and different energetic forms. And it's so important to have somebody who can just flow with the connection that you have with them. And
Yeah.
that's what you do.
No, thank you. I so appreciate you saying that. And sometimes I think when you're an entrepreneur, you ask yourself, is this too many offerings? Is this too much? Is this too little? What would be the best? And I feel very grateful that you said that because that is my goal. And my objective is to meet everybody where they are at. And if I think about a typical client interaction or when somebody comes to meet with me for a natural health consult, we sit down for 90 minutes. sometimes longer. And we look at the whole person. We look at what have you been through? What does your diet look like? What nutrition are you getting into your body? What's your movement look like? Um, Obviously, a lot of times people come in with symptoms or autoimmune diseases or inflammation or gut health. Gut health is huge. Perimenopause, hormone issues. Like people come in with everything, right? And so you have to look at the whole person, and there is no one size fits all. And there's also different dimensions to healing. And so, what I mean by different dimensions to healing is I want to offer a good offering of those different ways. So energy work, stretching and in yoga, healing the body through connecting breath with body. But then also sometimes we just need that really good sweaty weight training workout. And I offer that as well, just because I come from that industry. I come from that background. Um, Clearly, I'm only one person. I can't offer everything. And there's going to be things that I'm not um, an expert in, and I don't want to be an expert in everything. But the offerings that I do bring forward are truly what I recognize where I can shine brightest and I can bring those gifts. And when we have that conversation, it's going to look like here's what I can offer, and here's the plan we can develop together. But then I'm also going to send people, I'm going to refer them out. I'm going to refer them to the Megans. I'm going to refer them to the other professionals that I have relationships with because holistic health looks different for everybody. And I think it'd be really beautiful if we all came from a place of like, you have a friend or a colleague or a family member that comes to you and you have a specific skill set, but you say, you know what? I'm not really the best one to talk to about that. And then you have this network of people that you can extend to. And I think that's how we are better together, you know?
Yeah. And you do a great job of creating community, Allie. Like you've created such a great community, and you do that all the time. You refer people, you bring them together and allow other practitioners to highlight their areas of expertise. So you do that so beautifully.
Well, thank you. It's so important to me. And you brought up the Sunshine Retreat. And so, just a little plug with that, the Sunshine Retreat is that.
Yeah.
So, the Sunshine Retreat takes place the weekend after Mother's Day every year. Okay. So, that's an easy way for you to remember. It's the weekend after Mother's Day. And it's in Highland, Michigan. And I saw in my mind, I want a live version of all of these beautiful humans offering their talent. So, Megan came and did heart math. Did I say that correctly? You did the
Yes.
heart
Yes.
technology. Megan came and did heart math. Lindsaya came and did self-love. My friend Rochelle came and did her body self-worth embodiment. We had yoga, we had fitness, we have organic, healthy food that nourishes the body. Essentially, the Sunshine Retreat is a one-day opportunity to go, oh, I've never tried that. Oh, I've never thought about that. What different holistic, natural healing modalities could I introduce into my world that would be really beneficial? And I love the feedback that I get is like, Allie, I've never tried a cold plunge, or I never realized that a workshop on human design could help me connect back to why I do what I do. Whatever the offering is, it's different every year, but it's really fun to hear people's feedback. And so if anybody's listening to this and it's like, you know what, one full day of that would be great. I can't do a whole weekend because I can't be away from my family. Some women say that. It's an opportunity to come together and just be nurtured and filled up and learn a lot.
And you meet so many amazing people at the Sunshine Retreat. Like I just love the connections that I was able to make. And I'm sitting there doing, these heart math readings, and really, it was like 5-10 minutes of truly connecting with someone's soul, and there's tears being shed like every session, and you get to experience the intimacy and vulnerability of yourself when you engage in these different practices with these different women at this beautiful event where we all come together.
Yeah.
So you don't even know how much transformation can take place. It doesn't always happen on a table or in a room. Sometimes it just happens in this community at this, you know, beautiful event that God put in your heart to put together. So really life-changing and powerful.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah. And I would love to hear how just the Sunshine brand and Sunny Side Up Wellness and the podcast and everything that you have created, how this came to be, because we all have an incredible story about how we came back home to ourselves, right? Like I call it your homecoming, but I think we all have a similar past of living a life that was very inauthentic to our soul and spirit. And I just love to hear, and I know in bits and pieces, but I'd love to hear you share
Yeah,
your story.
I would love to. Thank you for the opportunity to do that. So I was born at an Air Force base in Arizona. So I was literally born in a sunshine state. I was born on Easter Sunday at Luke Air Force Base, and I was born sunny side up. So I came out of my mom looking up. And sorry, mom. I always say that when I share the story because it had to be really painful. Um, so I was born face up, and I feel like I've been blessed enough to really live my life that way. When I was 10 years old, I was gifted a reflexology card by my grandmother. And my grandmother was an angel on earth. She was my dad's mother. She is my dad's mom. She's in heaven now. Um, but she was my first introduction to healing the body through natural means. She was the one that had the Melaleuca products and the crystals hanging in her windows. And she was also a pastor's wife. And so you bring in a whole lot of Jesus, a whole lot of Jesus with the natural healing. And what I love so much about that is sometimes that can be contentious. I mean, sometimes people think they can't be married and you can't have them both. But in my mind and in my walk of life, God made it all. So, and we are those energetic beings. So from birth to 10, just kind of took you through there. Um, I had a pretty typical upbringing. I grew up in Okemos, so I grew up near Michigan State University, and that's where I went to college. I had my own childhood challenges, but I do feel really lucky and blessed to have everything that I had and to get me to where I'm at. Um, I started with a career in nonprofit. I actually worked for a global nonprofit for about 13 years, and I would plan and prepare and put on events for 15 to 20,000 people in venues like Ford Field. And it was all around heart disease and stroke because I did work for the American Heart Association. And I told myself when I left that I never wanted to plan events that big again because I love leaning in and I love conversations and I love storytelling. And I just love that one-on-one with people. And so as grand and as great as those events were, I just always kind of knew that when I went off and did my own thing, I wanted them to be smaller and more intimate and I wanted that one-on-one touch. Um, so when I left the American Heart Association, I went through a period of mourning. It was really hard for me to identify who I was without a career, who I was without a six-figure paycheck, and who I was without a spreadsheet. All those checked boxes. I took a good year, maybe a good year and a half of just reflecting. And I think oftentimes God brings us to our knees and takes us through the storm in order to really, truly find out who we are through Him. And I have goosebumps all over my body when I say that. I was standing in my kitchen in 2020, and 2020 was a very challenging, interesting time for all of us. And I said, I actually thought I was going to write a book, and I have a book, and it's 33 pages, which isn't a lot, but it's 33 pages of the beginning of my book and my story. And I was standing in the kitchen making Ninja Turtle cupcakes for my son's birthday. And I said, I'm just going to start a podcast. This is it. Today's the day. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking, do I want to do a book? Do I want to do a podcast? So I grabbed my phone and I recorded my very first podcast episode in my kitchen on my phone in memory of my grandma. And you can go back and listen to that episode if you want, way back in 2020. And from there, I literally, Megan, that's when Sunny Side Up Wellness launched, because Sunny Side Up podcast is what I recorded in my kitchen. And that became an evolution. So when I went back to school and I decided that I was going to go back to school and that's what I wanted to be when I grew up, was a naturopath doctor, I thought, well, I'm just going to continue this Sunny Side Up business and go from Sunny Side Up podcast to Sunny Side Up Wellness. And even though I have my little logo back here, even though Sunny Side Up Wellness is a circle because of the sun, I really think of my business as a triangle. And a triangle is the strongest shape in nature, anyhow, which is pretty cool. But one side of the triangle is fitness and movement, and how we detox, how we cleanse, how we heal, how we have a better mood, how everything happens through movement. And then the other side of the triangle, the other top, is yoga. And it doesn't have to just be yoga. To me, yoga is breath. To me, yoga is connecting inward so that we can even be more connected to our higher power, right? So yoga to me is so many more things than just stretching. And I feel like in my journey of yoga, I have literally watched and witnessed not just women, men too, find themselves again on the mat. And it's just such a beautiful thing to witness. And then the bottom part of that triangle is the wellness piece. And if you go to my website, like Megan said, there's a lot happening, there's a lot going on. But the wellness piece of it is, you know, we live in a world that wants a quick fix. We want Amazon to deliver that day or the next day. We want to go to the doctor because we feel like crap and we just want to feel better. And I get that. That is a fast paced, fast moving, that is the world that we live in, but it doesn't have to be. And what I see with natural wellness is that if you feel crummy, or you have a lifetime of an illness, or you have something going on, and you are ready to get to the root, you are ready to figure out where it's all coming from. Did it stem from a lifetime of not eating well? Did it stem from I heard recently, and I loved this on a podcast, they said our biography becomes our biology. Our biography becomes our biology. So are all of these problems that you're having now because you have been pushing down a lifetime of trauma? Have you been just holding it in, everything that you've been through? Have you been coping with eating unhealthy or drinking or whatever the unhealthy coping mechanisms that you've taken on? What are you putting in your body and what are you putting on your body? And have you really had a come to Jesus moment with yourself? And could that be the cause? And to me, that is the third part of my triangle, is getting to the root of you. And so that is how Sunny Side Up Wellness came about. And that is where we're at and the direction we're headed. But I'm really excited for what's more and what's to come, because, I don't know. I don't know where it's all going to go.
Allie, like I said, I knew bits and pieces of your story, but I never got to hear the fullness of how this all came about. And thank you so much for sharing. I love that you were born Sunny Side Up. Like, I love how that was the beginning, and you knew when you started talking about your grandmother, I think twice, I got full body chills. She's so with you. I can just feel her spirit in the way that you speak.
She is.
That just warms my heart so much. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. You guys, a testament to so many things that Allie brings to life, but I want to go back to a couple things that you mentioned. So I went in to see Allie. I just want to tell the story. You guys, I was having, to me, it was a really spiritual experience. I experienced, trapped energy in my body, past life stuff. I mean, it's all kinds, and generational, ancestral. I experienced it in my body so strongly. And at this point, I was having terrible, terrible jaw pain, to the point where I couldn't sleep. It was really debilitating. It wasn't just like something that, I kind of had lockjaw. It was kind of bugging me a little bit. I mean, it was debilitating. And something came there. I mean, I'm praying to God. I'm praying to God. I'm like, I need help. Please help me. And I want to get to the core. You mentioned such a great point. The root is so important, because if we're just continually putting a band-aid on surface level things, we're never going to heal. And you'll just be in this loop for the rest of your life, you know? It feels really easy and quick, but it's not a permanent fix. It's not the freedom that comes along with getting to the root. And your body is really screaming to you, just like my jaw was, get to the root, get to the root. So I'm praying, text Allie. Okay, I text Allie. I'm like, listen, I think I need cranial sacral. Something's happening in my jaw. I have trapped energy in my face. And she's like, oh, I just so happen to have an opening tomorrow. I'm like, oh my God. So, I mean, what are the odds? We're both entrepreneurs, super busy. What are the odds that we just have an opening? And I go in there, and I had to bring Keegan because he was also sick. And that session, and I've had a lot of sessions in my life, that session was probably in my top 3 of the most profound, significant release that I ever felt in my energetic body. And having my son there to witness and experience, and have Allie just hold that energy of the 3 of us so beautifully, and allow him to be a part of that, because he is a part of me and I am a part of him. And that needed to happen exactly the way that it did. And I will forever be grateful to you for that, because what that did was it moved stuff around to the point where what needed to come through was able to come through.
Good.
Right? It was the next step that needed to happen in order for me to find freedom from what I was carrying. And I'm just so grateful. And I share that story because the intimacy of the work that you do, and the compassion and just passion that you have. I mean, you can even hear it when you tell your story of how you created this business. This is what you're meant to do in the world, Allie. I mean, it is. This is what you're meant to do. And, I got to experience it firsthand in a really, really powerful way. So I just wanted to share that story.
Girl, I'm so grateful that you did. And as grateful is one word that comes to mind, but also, you sharing your testimony is powerful for others, because if they've never experienced that, they should, whether it's with me or with somebody else. But then also reminding you, and I say this often, is that the greatest teachers lead us back to ourselves. So I am never going to take credit for that. And I'm so grateful you were on my table and I got to be a facilitator of that, but you did that work. And I think if we can get to the point where we all make a decision, I'm ready. I'm ready to do the work. I'm a little scared because I don't know what craniosacral is. I don't know what energy work is. I'm a little scared of that, but I'm ready. And I want to take that step. I'm certainly here for it if you want to do that with me. But there's a lot of other very gifted, beautiful humans like Megan. Megan is one of those people, you guys. And Megan's work might look a little different than mine, but it's in the same field, right? It's in the same way. And it's seeing you and meeting you where you're at in order to take that step. So thank you for sharing that. And actually your story brought to mind, I want to talk about, a lot of times in this field of work, it's a lot of women, right? We talk about women and soul sisters and coming together. And so I want to share a guy story really quick, if that's okay. Okay. So all the guys out there, there's a dad that I know that has really been suffering, and he has a path, and I would never share his name. This is his story to share, and you'll never know who he is. But he came from a path of, a lot of regret. He wasn't there for his child early on in life because of some decisions and choices that he made. And anytime that happens, you better believe you're carrying it with you. And when we say that our biography becomes our biology, those are the issues that are trapped in our tissues, right? So I saw him in passing, and he had a really bad headache. And I said to him, "Are you hydrating?" first thing I always say to someone, are you hydrating? Have you had enough water to drink? And are you taking your electrolytes? I'm sure people are going to stop inviting me to dinner parties because this is the that I talk about. So, anyways, he's like, no, I haven't been hydrating. I'm like, okay, step one, we need to hydrate. And I said, I've got 10 minutes. Do you have 10 minutes? He goes, yeah. And I was like, come with me. We're going to do some craniosacral. And there's this craniosacral hold that you do where you hold the occipital, you hold the back of the head, and you essentially basically just hold the head. But what you're allowing to do is that there is, not to get too technical, but you have duramatter fluid within your head, within your cranium, and then you have your fluid that moves up and down the spine. And so the nervous system in the spine and um, all of the vertebrae and the bones in your head, I mean, they're all kind of fluidly moving all the time. And I don't think people think about that. You think about it's like bones don't move and they're steady and they're still, but they do. There's this movement to them. And so sometimes when we have migraines or headaches or we feel off or misaligned, that is really the heart and essence of craniosacral, is bringing the body back into alignment very gently just by holding different areas of the head and of the cervical spine and of the neck. It's not an adjustment like chiropractics. It's really just more of like a gentle alignment. So on the spot, talked to this dad about hydration, and we went and we did a 10-minute little mini craniosacral session. And he stood up and he was like, what was that magic that you just did? He goes, I don't even know what just happened. And he goes, but all of the tension that I was carrying in my neck is gone and my headache is gone. And he's like, and I have to go work a 10-hour shift. And I'm like, so grateful that we just did that. Now, I'm sharing that story with you not to boast myself or, even to, pat myself on my back in any way. Because as I mentioned, you do the healing. But I'm sharing that story because he had never in his life, ever, had anybody tell him about craniosacral or really have a candid conversation about hydration. And when I was doing his session, I brought up to him releasing and letting go and focusing on the breath and bringing that breath up the body and down the body. He called me 2 days later and he's like, I want a full session. He's like, I feel like I have a lot I need to let go of. And I said to him, I am super proud of you because men, particularly, are not vulnerable enough to bring themselves to that point where they realize there's that inner stuff they need to deal with, that inner stuff they need to dig up. I think women we talk about it more. And I don't know, I just felt called today. Megan and I prayed before this episode and she said, whatever we feel called to talk about, I want to just make men feel seen and held, and we all need this work. And so I wanted to share that story because he's on a path to healing now like never before. And he was a little reluctant, and he didn't know what it was about, and so now he does.
I love so much that you just shared that story. And I almost feel like it came from me talking about my session when I brought Keegan, because it's so important. And, I work with men too. And you're right. We do live in this, the space that we live and work in is primarily women,
Yep.
and sister circles and, all those things. And that's beautiful and great. But it is really also important to include men in these conversations because, I know you're raising boys, I'm raising a boy,
Yep.
just to include them and allow them to see the power of releasing and letting go and not holding in emotions, feelings, thoughts, ideas, being able to openly share without fear of punishment or having to shrink down and dim their light. Because that's what so many men were, they were taught to do, they were conditioned to do. And now they have no idea what to do with all of that suppression. So it is so important to also highlight the importance of, working with men and allowing them, giving them permission to step into this journey. I feel that so strongly, with Keegan, that that I show him, and he's able to see, that it's normalized. It's more normalized than it ever has been.
Absolutely. So important. And maybe it is because we're boy moms and my boys are very attuned to, Mom, I can't sleep. Can you come do a little craniosacral session with me? Or, the things we do as moms, rub their back or rub their hair, rub their head. And in my household, we do the natural gummies with like lemon balm and, just natural ways to help facilitate rest and sleep. And we have those conversations. Am I perfect in all of it? No. Do I get angry sometimes? Yes. Even all this sunny stuff that we talk about, I feel like in my path of life, people have seen my sunshine and my sunny side up brand and go, oh, like that's no one can be that much sunshine. And so let me be the first to say the premise of my podcast is finding the sunshine in the storms because we all have these storms. I have these storms. I'm a hot mess often. And it's just all about offering ourselves grace and having a toolbox, right? A toolbox. So I don't know. I wanted to mention that.
Yeah. And being able to get to the root really gives you, this journey and an opportunity of self-discovery and all those things that we give ourselves grace, and we have the people to call and the reinforcements to call in when, something comes up in our lives where we feel like we need help.
Yeah.
We're not meant to do any of this by ourselves because none of us are perfect. I get people all the time like think the same thing. Like, Megan, you can't always be this happy and positive. I'm like, listen, I'm not. But I try really hard to
Yeah.
surround myself with light and sunshine and,
Right.
do the things that I know are healing the roots so the tree is stable. So right? Heal the root so the tree is stable. I think we're walking into, and we have been in a while, but for some people, they're just walking into this time where it's okay to give yourself grace to walk your journey, and it's not going to be fast paced. We're going to slow down. There's magic in the stillness, right? There's so much to learn in the moments where we're not going so fast and just taking a quick fix or hoping to hurry up and get by it because we have so much to do. It's like,
Yeah.
honor yourself, right? Like, how do we honor our body and give ourselves the grace that we all deserve?
Amen. Yeah, for sure.
And I also want to say that the thing you were talking about with holding the head and the craniosacral, that was my favorite position when you were talking about it. I'm like, that was the one when I was like, go back and do that one again.
Everybody loves it. It's the best. Like we just need to teach each other how to do it.
It's so good. I'm like, can you just hold my head like this forever? But you do feel the alignment. Like you can just feel it's like not just alignment, but oh my God, I've been waiting for this. I didn't even know I needed it, but I was waiting for it.
It is the best for sure. And when we, the school that I go to, when we are practicing, obviously I'm able to experience it too because other students are practicing on me. I'm right there with you. The world needs craniosacral for sure. And the more heads I get my hands on, the more I become, just more attuned to how much we need it.
Yeah.
I feel very grateful too for kids and teenagers. I mean, anytime a parent trusts me enough to bring their teenager to me for, you had jaw pain, and I'm sure a lot of teenagers have migraines or maybe TMJ themselves or, whatever stressors are, because stress can harbor in different areas of the body. So I think we all need it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about because I've been dying to be a part of the Cleanse Club, and I want to hear more about it because I think it makes such a difference just being a part of community when you're stepping into new things or you don't really know where to go or you have a lot of questions, and to be on a journey with somebody, not only does it offer support, but it offers connection.
Yeah.
Because this is part of the healing journey, right? Like it's
Yeah.
all a part of. So I'd love to talk about that.
Well, I would love to talk about it too. And this actually is a perfect segue because the Cleanse Club stemmed from one of my storms. And um, one of my healing, part of my healing journey. So when McCoy was born, my 9-year-old, after he was born, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression. And I realize now that that was just a title. It was a title that was given to me. And I like to view a lot of, I absolutely love, by the way, shout out to Casey Must. She is the founder of Fourth Try in Ferndale. It's called Fourth Try. And it's the sanctuary for women in the fourth trimester. Because when we have babies, we're sent home and we're told, okay, take care of this baby, breastfeed this baby, nurture this baby, and often the mother is depleted. We don't have the support or the care or the minerals or the things that we need in order to heal our bodies. And so that was just my little quick shout out. And so that was me. That was me. I had that journey. And so, with this diagnosis of postpartum depression, because I have a family history and a long line of mental illness in my family, I was really struggling because I did not want to be a mother or in a position or have a future of being on a bunch of drugs. And when I went to the doctor, that is what they said. They said, "Okay, we'll put you on Zoloft. We'll put you on this medication. You should be on A, B, C, D." And I didn't know any better at the time, and so I did. And I started on an antidepressant, and it did help me through for a while. Um, but so that's kind of where my journey started. Of um, when we come back to the cleanse club, like when I think about my why, when I think about why I started the cleanse club or why I want other people to be a part of it, we all have this journey of not knowing what we knew at the time, so we didn't make the best choice for ourselves, maybe. And maybe that's a lifetime of antibiotics, maybe that's a lifetime of birth control, maybe that's we don't know any better, so we have acid reflux, so we're popping antacids all the time. That is just masking. That is just a band-aid, and over time, what happens is we wreck our gut health. We rock our gut, and our gut is where 75% of our immune system lives. Our gut is where our mood lives. Our gut speaks to our brain right directly through that vagus nerve, and it's all connected. It's all connected. So as I became more and more passionate and more aware of the natural health world, I didn't exactly know what it was gonna look like to bring people into the fold, but I knew my story, and I knew, my postpartum, and I knew what I was told, and I knew that there had to be a better way. And so when I started school a couple years ago, I found out about this book called Detox Memoir by Dr. Christopher Duray. Detox Memoir. And it literally changed my life. Like, I'm not being exaggerative when I say that. This book will rock your freaking socks off. It's a story of Dr. Christopher Duray. It's his memoir of how he found out that he had mercury toxicity. And mercury, not to get too much in the weeds, but we get an excess of mercury leaching into our body through fillings in our mouth, amalgam fillings. Well, I had two. I had two mercury fillings in my mouth. So I knew right away 2 years ago that was going to be my first step into detoxing my body. I was going to make an appointment with a biological dentist, and I was going to get the mercury amalgams extracted out of my mouth in the safest way possible. And that was my first step into cleansing and detoxing my body. I've always had the goal ever since I started the antidepressant with McCoy to get off of it, and I wanted to do it smart, and I wanted to do it in a way that I knew I would be okay without it. So, and I would never ever, I'm not a doctor, and I would never give anybody medical advice to just go off of a medicine. That's not smart. That's not wise, and we can have a lot of negative side effects from that. And so the mercury amalgams coming out, the cleansing, the reading this book, I decided to launch a book club. And I launched a book club, and I said, whoever else wants to read this book, it's changing my life. Join me in reading this book. Well, I had a bunch of people come forward, read the book with me, changed their life, changed their viewpoint, got them thinking about all the different ways they needed to cleanse and heal and detox. Well, from there, I took it one step further and I decided to follow the protocol in the book with a couple of the people that did the book club. And we did what's called a liver and gallbladder cleanse. And the liver and gallbladder cleanse, little warning for Megan's podcast here if you're squeamish, you poop out gallstones. And there is a process and a protocol that you take, and it's actually not as it doesn't require weeks of fasting or dieting or anything like that. It literally requires opening the channels of elimination in your body in a way through herbs and exercise and sweating and doing all the things as the prep work, hydrating. And then one full weekend we dedicate to a protocol that involves olive oil, lemon juice, and Epsom salt in order to extract these gallstones out of the body. You can look it up yourself. I can send it to you. You can email me if you're like, what is she talking about? That's okay. That is what the Cleanse Club is for, and that is why you should sign up. So we did this cleanse together, and you guys, the stories of like people that had never even thought about stepping into natural healing or doing a cleanse had so much clarity. Clarity is a great word. They had so much brain fog gone. Their brain fog was relieved. Their bloating, their inflammation, just like simply by stepping into this process and reading this book and realizing this was step one. Like Megan said, there is no quick fix. It's this journey. And this journey that I'm telling you about has been 9 years. 9 years of my son being born and me getting to hear. And so, what happened from there, only God can be responsible for. A good dear friend of mine that was a part of this process. Her business is Aloe and Alchemy. Her name is Rochelle. So shout out to Aloe and Alchemy. She said, "This is a big deal, and we have got to get this in more people's hands. And what would that look like?" And I was like, "You're freaking me out because I have a lot on my plate and I don't I don't know if we can really do this right now." And she's like, "Get over it, Allie, because you're already doing it and we're doing this together." So we launched the Cleanse Club. And the Cleanse Club is everything that we just talked about. We bring it to life hand in hand with you in community. The Cleanse Club will relaunch again on January 21st. On January 21st, we are coming together for a 5-week cohort, a 5-week program. And because it's winter, we focus on seasonal cleansing. And by seasonal cleansing, that means we are working with nature to cleanse the body. And what nature is asking us to focus on right now is kidneys, adrenals, and the immune system. So, kidneys, adrenals, and the immune system, which means we're going to be talking a lot about um, like some of the herbs would be parsley and celery and asparagus are all like natural healing of the kidneys. But even more than that, our adrenals are our backup organs for our stress, for fight or flight or rest and digest. Our adrenals are a part of that. And they can really be taxed if we've been living in a state of stress. So we're going to talk a lot about stress. We're going to talk about gut health because the immune system is where the lives in the gut, so it's all connected, it's all tying together. So winter will be that kidneys, adrenals, and immune system. And then once we get back to the spring, we're going to go back to liver and gallbladder. And then when we get to the summer, we're going to focus on large intestines and gut health. And there's another one there I'm not remembering. And then when we get to back to fall, we're going to focus on parasites. So for anybody wants to do a parasite cleanse, now you don't have to wait to do a parasite cleanse until that cleanse. In fact, we're going to be talking about parasite cleanses probably in each cohort or in each group that we do, because we are actually the only culture that doesn't parasite cleanse on a regular basis. And if parasite cleansing freaks you out, I'm a good person to talk to about that because I can change your mind on that, I think, and why it doesn't have to be so scary. So Cleanse Club, that is kind of the long version of how Cleanse Club came to be. And I have a really exciting announcement that nobody knows. We have a third partner coming in to the Cleanse Club. So you guys are going to get 3 highly professional experts in the field of healing your body. Um, I don't know if I should say. I'm tempted to say who this third partner is, but it hasn't even been announced yet.
I feel like you should tell because I'm not gonna post this until a couple of weeks,
The
maybe.
right time.
Yeah, the right time. I'm not gonna post it till the right time, so I feel like it's okay. If it's okay with
Okay.
you. I mean, if you
Yeah,
can
okay,
tell.
well, I feel like it's being called forth. So, the Cleanse Club, launching January 21st, will be, a community of women and men. All are invited to be a part of it, and you can sign up on my website, which I'm sure Megan will drop the link, and I'll mention the link. And you will have full access to a resource guide helping you cleanse, giving you all the resources. You'll have the support. We have a Facebook group that you can be a part of, and you will be supported by myself, with over 20 years of wellness experience and natural medicine insight. Aloe and Alchemy, which is Rochelle Beasley, and she is the queen of relaxation, restoring the body. She leads retreats locally. She's got a lot of knowledge in how to calm the nervous system. And then the third partner, which hasn't even been announced yet, so I hope she doesn't kill me, is Lindsaya Van Dusen. And Lindsaya Van Dusen is the founder of Wellness Warrior Collective. And Lindsaya, you guys, is a powerhouse of knowledge on cleansing, on juicing. I'm really excited because she's going to take us into her world of juicing and how that heals the body. She's got one heck of a story. She leads um, a global conversation on what's the app called? It's not Snap.
Her Wellness Warrior Collective.
Yeah, the app, it's called Self Love. It's a self love practice every morning on, oh, my brain.
I know, I forget. We can post it in the notes, but it's at like 5 o'clock in the
It's
morning or
no,
something.
7:50
Oh,
a.m. Every day at 7:50 a.m. She's gonna kill me that I'm having a brain fart. But anyways, we'll post it. We'll
okay.
post it. So Lindsaya is that third partner that's coming in. And yeah, I just feel so excited that this is such an amazing direction for my business, for her business, for Rochelle's business, for all of us together collectively to heal our bodies in community. So Cleanse Club, baby. And I'll just say the website out there. I know it's going to be linked, but my website is sunnyandholistic.com. So it's pretty easy to remember, sunnyandholistic.com. But then you just want to put that / Cleanse Club. So sunnyandholistic.com / Cleanse Club. And that will take you to all the information.
This is going to be so fun, and I hope that I can join this time. Are we meeting virtually or in person? What does that look
Oh,
like?
100% virtual.
Oh, okay,
100%
good.
virtual. Yeah, and what you miss will be sent to you as a recording. So that's why it's so accessible. Yeah.
Yes.
It's accessible for anyone, anywhere, any state, any country.
Oh my God, that's so great because mom life, soccer mom life, like
Mhm.
all things, sometimes it just gets so much, and I want to do all these amazing clubs. But if it's
Yeah,
virtual replay, that is super accessible for everybody. And I'm so excited that Lindsaya is going to be a part of it. I just love her so much. And we'll
too.
make sure that we post all of that information, how you can connect with Allie, how you can be a part of her community, how you can be a part of the Cleanse Club, which I'm super excited to join. I do not know a ton about that, so this is going to be really fun.
You'll learn a lot. You will learn a
Yeah,
lot. Yeah, I
yeah.
can't wait for you to be a part of it. And
Well,
great parenting.
yeah, I'm super excited. And the thing is, right, like when we are able to attain this information and share it with other people, then like I get to pass it on to Keegan and I get to pass it on to my parents, right? It's such a compound effect. And that's why the healing journey is so incredibly beautiful to me, because it is, it's like take what you learn and share it with others.
Absolutely.
Because we all have unique gifts, and I'm just so grateful that you share all of your unique gifts, because you have so many with the world. And thank you for being here with me. I'm gonna
Thank
post
you.
yeah, Allie, this was like my favorite part of my afternoon. And I'm gonna post all the links in the notes. But if there's anything that you want to say to leave the episode on, I always invite my guests to just kind of leave a word.
Oh gosh, I love that. And I do the same thing. We all have so many gifts and talents to offer. And just because somebody else out there is doing your dream and doing what you've always wanted to do, no one's ever going to do it like you. And so step into that and just never be afraid to shine your talent, and just know that the way you do it is going to resonate differently with somebody else. And so my signature in my email forever and ever and ever and ever has been, be yourself, everyone else is taken. Be yourself, everyone else is taken. And um you are not doing yourself any service or the world any service by dimming your light. So stop dimming your light. Shine bright.
Thank you, Allie. When you were talking, I was thinking about your email signature. So it is already imprinted in my memory, and it is such a great reminder, because even though you might feel like, oh, everyone else is doing this, no one's doing it like you. God made each one of us very unique in the way that we show up, in the way that we present, and the light that we have within us.
That's
So,
right. Amen.
amen. Amen, sister.
Amen, sister. I love you so much. Thank you for inviting me to your community. I can't wait to meet more of your community at the Sunshine Retreat, hopefully, and then also at all the things that you're doing, because you're doing a whole lot of cool stuff, girl.
So much. It's such a cool time to create and just be a part of community and share our light with the world.
Yep.
And whatever way that looks like, it's always growing and evolving. And I'm just so grateful to be on this journey with you. And I love you so much, Allie. Thank you.
Mama, love you back. Thank you.